Hi everybody, welcome to a new episode of your Frederish Cast. My name's Gary and here I am once again. And if you're in your early 20s or in your 20s, late 20s, you most likely won't need any further explanation on the topic, just judging by the title, of course. Um, and if you're in your early 30s, you chances are that that neither you will need an explanation about it. But if you're in your late 30s or if you're older than 40, it's very, very, very likely that you're gonna have that I am going to have to explain that to you in more details. What is this thing, this red pill movement I'm talking about? Okay, but just so I don't get um, rid of my practice or my habits or my bad habits, I'm getting ahead of myself. So why don't you just sit down, relax, or before that, go grab a cup of coffee, tea, whatever it takes for you to relax, and come with me in this one more conversation session, spontaneous conversation session, and to be extremely honest and upfront with you guys, this is going to be one of the most spontaneous one because my co-host ChatGPT is not coming today because the topic I'm about to delve in, isn't really something ChatGPT could be of use. Okay, and why is that? Because this is a topic about the world outside the so-called political correctness. And correct me, guys, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I really believe that ChatGPT isn't able to do that just yet. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Let's just do it. Come with me. Don't go anywhere. Don't go away. Let's do it. All right, so let us just go back to the very beginning of this. The name of this movement. Let me just go by a disclaimer, by a big disclaimer. Well, some people famous for, advocating for this ideology. I'm going to use the word ideology rather than movement because technically it may not be exactly a ideology, but it's better than movement because many people advocating for this ideology say that this is not a movement, and I tend to agree with them because they justify this saying with the fact that there's no organized there's no organization of these people. Okay, there's no headquarters, there's no president, there's no leader, so it's not a movement. But depending on the angle you look at it, it can be faced and understood as a movement. But I'd rather call it an ideology rather than a movement. All right. So I just use it in the title because this is the most common way people refer to it. Okay? Most people call it a movement. All right. Okay. So this ideology is pretty old, actually. Well, and what is the ideology I'm talking about? The ideology of going against political correctness. Okay. So you say things that you see happening, going on in the world, but aren't necessarily presented in the communication vehicles, say news, say newspaper, TV, shows in general. Things you cannot say, things you cannot be too upfront about. Okay, you cannot be so literal about because you risk, not to say that you will absolutely end up hurting someone's feelings. Okay, or more than a person, many people, millions or thousands of people's feelings. Okay, so this is the idea of going against it and just say it as you see it, basically. Speaking your mind, there's this expression in English that means speak what you think without any filter. It's old. Okay, I cannot precise how old, but I would say as old as humanity. maybe, or at least as old as uh, um, the societies started to get organized and spread news somehow. Okay, but totally and certainly as soon as the remote communication started via radio and of course TV, etc., etc. So yeah, um, but although this feeling of, oh, I'm gonna swim against the stream, basically I'm gonna be the different the different mind in the room, although this feeling always existed according to me, there is a thing that happened in the early 2000s. I mean, the late 90s, early 2000s. I'm talking about the Matrix movies, all right? Because in movie one, if you didn't see that, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do because the movie's 400,000 years old. It's 25 years old almost. And it totally should, but whatever. But in movie one, I made all this rounding about so you can go away if you don't want a spoiler. No, that's not exactly a spoiler, so don't worry. But in movie one, the main character is confronted at a certain point in the beginning of the movie with the possibility of knowing the truth. So the world he lived, that is our world, according to the movie, is not a reality. It's actually a computer program. Okay, it's software basically, a software program. And he had the opportunity to leave this fake world and go to the real world, the real and not as beautiful real world. But he's confronted because he is meant to make a choice about it. So his mentor, I'm gonna call it this guy, this for lack of a better word, presents to him two pills, a blue pill and a red pill. So the blue pill, if he would take the blue pill, he would just wake up the next morning and wouldn't remember any of that had happened, and his life, quote unquote, would move on. But if he would choose the red pill, he would wake up in the real world and see exactly how things are, and etc., etc. Okay, the movie's pretty successful. The idea, it started inevitably messing with people's mind in the good sense, in the bad sense too, of course. But I specifically say that in the good sense, in terms of, hey, why don't I question things around me? Why don't I question my reality? You know, or at least my perception of my reality. So certain things that I grew up listening, hearing people saying that are right or wrong. You know, why don't I just this is an interesting verb, pretty common in English. Why don't I scrutinize these ideas? So scrutinize means to I don't even know how to explain that, but to test and confront and come out with an opinion about something, basically. So why don't I scrutinize my perception of reality, my beliefs, my knowledge, the things I think I know, right? Or the things I believe I know, or the things I think are right, or the things I believe are wrong, for example. So the movie inevitably did that movement in general, okay? But of course, people on the internet, the non-political, the people who like going against political correctness, and this is a perception of mine. They don't say that, but I have the impression, you know, and I see that this germ, I'm going to use this word, of like having pleasure in being the different head in the room, for example, being the different mind in the room, to go against the odds, to go, you know, I think there's a name for it. The name for it is the anti-hero. Be the anti-hero, you know. I'm gonna name it. I'm gonna baptize it as a anti-hero syndrome. I see that a lot in my life with many people I met face to face, people who I became friends with. And of course, the number, a even bigger number on the internet by watching YouTube videos, because the old and gold idea of perception and understanding that behind a computer I am king, so I can say, so I can speak my mind, or dial my mind, write my mind in the keyboard. So, or even recording a video about it alone in a room, and just bragging how awesome I am, how an example of a person I am, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, this is basically, I'm saying this to just point out that this perception of reality, if we can call it a perception of reality, towards, or better, against the political correctness. I'm just looking at the political correctness. Political correctness is going south, I'm going north, and vice versa. For example, that's basically the principle behind all this. Okay, so it got a name from the Matrix movie, the red pill, for obvious reasons, for everything I explained at the beginning of this episode. So this is it. That's how I could summarize it. And I'm gonna start talking about what I like and dislike about this ideology, quote unquote. Well, I'm gonna start talking about the things I like about this, as I said, ideology. They don't consider themselves ideologists, but I'm gonna use it, as I said, so I can have so we can have a reference. Okay, so yeah, I think I kind of mentioned that before, but I like the thing of confronting dogmas and pre-established perceptions of the reality of truth. Okay, of course, I'm not a rebel. I don't think that we should just do that just because. Okay, I'm gonna confront the common sense, the so-called common sense, speaking in a philosophical language here, or using the definition, at least their definition. So let me confront the common sense just because. That's ridiculous. That never worked, and it's never gonna work. But looking at something and coming up with honest questions, and here's the coolest part, not caring about the so-called political correctness is amazing. Okay, and don't get me wrong, I think there are good parts of the political correctness, but in general it's bad. Okay? In general, it's a fake. It's an attempt to change the world from a fake power. Okay, from a fake perception of power. That's what I think of political correctness. I think a better word to describe 90% of what we have related to political correctness is hypocrisy. Okay, simple like that. I can record an episode about it, so I'm not gonna go long over it. But this is a cool thing of this red pill movement. And let me just say more. What I can call red pill ideology or movement, whatever, goes pretty far about any topic. Of course, they're more successful in the topics related to things that call our attention, like politics, like conspiracy theory, of course. Relationships is pretty popular these days, as I said in the beginning of this episode. So this is it. Okay, so it's a pretty wide concept. Okay, and I like, again, as I said, I like the idea of criticizing, scrutinizing things. Okay, I like it. I like this verb in English, and I like the essence of asking questions, asking sincere and honest questions, and because you're looking for answers, not just because you wanna wreak havoc, you wanna cause problem, you wanna cause trouble. So this is the cool side of it, and I see many people today becoming better people because of such contact with such contents. Okay, um, so I see good seeds coming out of it, but of course there's the downside, the part I don't like very much, which is I inevitably ended up saying that. First of all, the thing of contradicting things just because, without a honest, a seed, a source of a core of a honest feeling related to some subject, okay, towards a subject, towards a problematic, all right, or even towards a common sense dogma, all right. So this is the first, for starters, what I don't like about this ideology slash movement. And of course, the fact that most of the times the approach these people have, regardless of the area of action, is based in hatred. Okay? It is based in, hey, you guys lie to me all the time. How dare you? I'm gonna come up with everything I have to destroy you because of that lie. You see what I mean? Although it's a genuine feeling, I would say, it's not a good feeling. Okay, if you're listening to me right now, and if you're if you're a teenager, really young, if you're old, don't pay attention to that. It's not to you. But if you're really young and you just have the sensation that you've been lied to, that people have been lying to you as you grow up, well, don't let hatred take over. Okay, take my personal advice, because that happened to me, because I've been there, done that, as they say, right? It happened to me. Because people, when you say people lie to you, most of the times you're gonna be referring to, or you're gonna be talking about your family, the people who most love you, who love you the most. Okay, so they would never lie to you without a good reason. Okay, I'm not trying to justify their lies, but that's it, man. That's a reality. You want the red pill? That's the red pill, bro. That's the bitter pill to swallow. They don't lie to you because they want bad things to you to happen. They don't lie to you because they want you to grow up as a weak person, although this ends up being the case. Happened to me, as I said. But that's it, man. Take hatred out of your heart. First of all, with people around you, people of your family, close friends, people you meet on a daily basis at school, at work, whatever, you know. And second, this is the hardest one, because as I would say that internet, right? Get rid of hatred towards people you meet online, or you watch videos, or you follow somewhere online. This is harder, but this is liberating too. This is something that sets you free. Okay, once you manage to stop allowing yourself to be moved by hatred. Okay, well, I think that these 2 points pretty much summarize the negative part. Of course, I could say that there's a lot of hearsay or fake news involved. People bring some questioning, some confronting ideas towards some pre-established common sense, with fake news, with fake information, or if with deteriorated information. Okay, of course, but that isn't something that only happens in the red pill movement / ideology. It happens in any movement # ideology that has spread on the internet. Okay, well, I really believe and hope I have summarized it. I forgot to mention a little bit more, but I'm running out of time. I'm just gonna leave a teasing part. The most popular area of the red pill movement / ideology is the relationships. Okay, I think this is the most interesting for youngsters to watch contents, to consume contents related to. This is the one that especially young boys, okay, especially if you were raised by your grandmother, for example, or if you had your grandmother around you a lot as you were growing up. I think that this should be interesting, and as I say, liberating, something that will set you free, or at least will open your mind for questions. But of course, do that with precaution, do that with moderation. Don't just throw yourself. Get rid of the feeling of, hey, I need to follow this thing because it seems interesting now. No, change that for, I need to investigate this. This may take years, but I need to investigate this because this looks interesting to me. Okay, believe me, you will get out of a mini trouble or negative feeling, just by doing so. Okay, and this would be that for this would be that's amazing. This will be that for this episode, and I see you in the next one. Thank you one more time for your lovely company. Bye bye.